Hey guys, we're here at StarLadder ImbaTV minor number 2, and just before the start of the games I decided to talk to Loda from Alliance. Thank you very much for coming here. So how are you doing today?
I'm good. Just arrived some time ago to Kiev. It's good to be back. I've been here quite a few times. So, yeah.
So I wanted to talk to you about the DBC system and the whole season. I've read No Tail's interview from Birmingham, and he said that overall the European region qualifiers during the season were really tough, and the whole system was really exhausting. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, of course, I really do think so. I mean, there's worse thing to have happen to you than, you know, having a really intense schedule, but I do think that perhaps if they could make the major minor qualifiers have something to do with each other, you know what I mean, more than, because after you play the major qualifiers you kind of know who's going to be the minor teams, but then you have to go back and play the minor qualifiers with no advantage at all, and yeah, it is tough, I think so.
How do you manage to find strength to play again and again? Oh, it's all about love to the game.
I mean, sure, it's a lot about the love to the game, but I also think that it's not always easy to, or as easy as people think, to keep a group of 5 players as motivated as each other all the time.
Especially after losses.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that from my side, I think we try to have long goals, you know, far ahead, and if we have to make, you know, change some things up about training regimens, boot camps, all of these things to make the team feel more healthy or feel more relaxed. I mean, it's something we will do, but overall as a thing, I think that, as I said, having a goal far ahead in the future, rather than getting stuck on what's happening, you know, day by day, you're moving somewhere, and yeah, that's what we do.
So where do you find time to create new strategies, to adapt your game to the meta and all the stuff like that?
I mean, that's what I agree. Like, there's not that much time to maybe dare to break out of the meta in some cases, where since you don't have that many days to practice for qualifiers or for official games, I have a feeling that teams, they play around less and less when it comes to cheese or things like this. But I don't know, like, how do you find strategies normally? You know, like you talk to your teammates, you play some scrims, you play some pubs, and you notice something new that could give you an upper hand. But it's not easy. But you just have to do it.
So what functions do you have now in the team? As you're a coach, and so do you take part in drafts and stuff, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a part of the draft, but I mean, my logic is that, you know, even though I'm the coach, as how Dota works today is that no matter what happens, it's going to be the 5 of them that are in the game. So I've always tried to push it in a direction where they can do it by themselves, in a sense, if that makes sense. So to me, it's important that Insania, our captain, he has a good idea of the draft. I will usually jump in with some bans, perhaps against certain teams. Sometimes it's easy for them to be very stuck in a certain mindset, and then I'll, you know, remind them that, okay, it's 5th ban and draw is still there, you know, remove it from the game. Or if it's against certain teams, I know that, okay, this is a hero that they tend to fall back on during important games. I think something I did versus LGD, for example, in our last tournament at Birmingham was, you know, just pinpointing Wisp has just been released. China has never been the best at playing Wisp, and it just gave me the idea that I think this is a good approach to take versus them. But then Insania or Aiden would decide almost all of the drafts, or like what kind of style he wants to play against them. Of course, I will always remind them that, okay, I think when you guys laned this and this, it was very strong, and I think that if you can match it with this, but it's more about telling them what they are already doing well, and reminding them that they should, you know, go in this direction. Yeah, it was a long answer.
All right, so we are heading to the season final, right? If you can say that. We have TI and the major next. first you need to play minor. So do you think guys feel that pressure, and how do you help them to avoid it, if that's so?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think that the pressure is always there, and I think it's more about learning how to live with the pressure, I suppose. I mean, what I do, I try to remind them that they're really good. I try to remind them that, you know, we've been practicing for a long time, and the most important thing is, you know, to stick to our plan and actually execute things the way we have planned them to be in most cases, so that you can actually evaluate. And you know, you can always move forward. As I said, if you improvise too much too often, it's very hard to find, you know, the red thread, or whatever you call it in English, where, you know, this is good, this is bad, or whatnot. But back to the pressure thing, I think that they've been to quite some tournaments now. I do think that we're all, without saying too much, I think we feel very good going into this tournament. But we're just here to play the best Dota we can play, and then we'll see if that ends up with us being the best.
So Mickey is back.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons you think that you're feeling good before the tournament, right?
For sure. I mean, he's been playing like a beast recently. He's also been very motivated to play, and
he's hungry for victory.
He's very hungry, but also I think that all of the players on the team are, like, it feels very good to be back with the same 5 players. We've had a lot of stuff going on that made us have to use stand-ins and so on. So yeah, we're excited. I just hope we don't get too excited.
Once you said, or even a couple of times, that Mickey could become the best player in Europe.
Yeah.
So do you still think that he could become one? And what do you think he should do to become this the best player?
Without a doubt, I think he is the kind of player that has that capability. I think that when you see him play, even though sometimes he might be very different from other carry players and other.
This makes him good.
Yes,
right?
But exactly, you can also see that, you know, he does certain things in the game that other players don't do. He will usually push the advantage rather than fall back. And what I feel is a lot of issues, like a big issue for a lot of carry players, is that when they get a, you know, advantage, they will go back farm jungle. They will take a step back, so they will get the next item. But the best way
so this is a fear sometimes, right?
I think so, or maybe I think you just have to get to. I just think that for Mickey and players like him, they understand that it's always better to take the offensive if you can. Honestly, like, put them in a position where the enemies are not comfortable. Yeah. So
what should he do to make this second step, next step?
To make the next step for him, I think his type of person is. Like, his type of personality is quite classic for people that are that good naturally. I think that for him, sometimes his issue is that he might have a harder time committing and training as much as the other players. And I think it's because, you know, because things have always been quite easy for him. Things that, you know, it's always been a natural part of him to be dominating. And I know that for him to be the best, not only in Europe, but in the world, he just needs to commit to that. A bit like he's now, like, motivated to actually do everything he can to become as good as he can. Yeah. So basically, to be the best player in the world and in Europe and elsewhere, you need to have this crazy natural talent, and plus be committed to the team, to the game. I think so. I think that, like, you don't have to. It's more like this. Every team, you know, a team doesn't need 5 players like that. They really don't. And I'm not saying that means he's a better player as a whole, but it's more like to be that kind of individual, super aggressive, a bit like Miracle was or is, a bit like Sumail was when he broke into the scene, you know, like this special mindset, yeah.
Right, so tell me, how did you guys prepare for the minor, and how do you feel before? You already said that you're feeling pretty good. Did you have time to adapt to the latest patch, maybe?
A little bit.
Did yesterday's patch maybe ruin something in your strategies?
I think that every patch that's been coming out ruins something for someone. For this one, we'll just have to wait and see. I think the patch during Birmingham was probably more. For example, in Birmingham, when they changed Necrophos and the magic, pure damage to magic damage, kind of made the whole hero obsolete, and previous to that we had a lot of drafts with necrophos. So we're just gonna have to wait and see how it plays out. I don't think so, and I don't hope. I mean, I hope not. But I don't know. And to your question about preparing, I mean, you practice, you scrim, you talk about the game. It hasn't been that much time, but I think it's been enough.
About drafts and latest patch, who do you think, which hero we will see more and more in pubs, in maybe on professional scene?
I mean, a hero I think we've seen more and more, well, not that much yet, but I do think that Death Prophet, Aghanims will... Crazy. I just have a feeling that this is a little bit OP, and the more people play it and play with it, they'll realize that it's so strong. Other than that, I still don't know, honestly. Like, there's a lot of heroes that feel strong, but
we need to explore more. Yeah,
but teams
right?
are not really sure how to like incorporate it into the strategies you already have. So in my eyes, I still think, you know, a hero like Sven is still a very good laner. I think CK is probably gonna. I mean, Sven has already been like the #1 carry pick, at least at Birmingham. I think that CK is probably gonna be a hero that gets more and more playtime. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. And in the end, I wanted to ask you to finish one phrase. To be a coach is?
Pain.
What?
Pain.
Pain. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for this interview. Good luck, guys, and minor, and see you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.